The views and opinions expressed by participants in the following public affairs program do not necessarily reflect the position or beliefs of WDEF or its staff.
Since 1954, this is Point of View, the world record-holding public affairs program produced at the studios of WDEF-TV Chattanooga and with underwriting community support.
Hello, and thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Point of View. Well, as you might expect, when you show up on our show, you're probably talking about an A-list, so you bring your A game with you. Allison Lieberwith, you've done just that. We want to thank you very much for joining us. And Jennifer Crutchfield, you found this delightful personality. Tell us how this story developed.
Well, at WTCI, one of our goals in local programming is to introduce our community to people, places, and exciting things.
So that's part of the role of public broadcasting.
Correct.
I want to get the public broadcasting part in.
Right. And the A-list is one of our, is starting its 9th season. So Allison has been with WTCI for a very long time.
So Allison, we looked at the A-list as the show where guys were blowing up tanks and they had Mr. T with about 1,000 pounds of gold chains on. This is not quite that.
It is not quite that, but I love that you say Mr. T, because when I was in film school, we had a project to do, and we had to bring someone into the studio, and I surprised everybody and was able to secure Mr. T.
So no way.
Yes, and he was actually one of my first interviews, and I produced a segment, and he came and spoke for 30 minutes, and so the A-list, the A-Team was always my favorite show. Now the A-List has got to be my favorite show. And much like Mr. T, our job is to bring dynamic personalities literally into your living room.
So what qualifies a person to be on the A-list? I think that's a question a lot of people would want to know. I mean, being up here on Point of View, you are A-list material, but tell us how this evolved.
We gauge it by sort of that elevator pitch model. So in 30 seconds or less, if you can give us a summation of that person's life, accomplishments, struggles, what have you, and if it feels like something that we know our viewers are eager to hear more about, that qualifies as an A-lister. And we try to diversify every season. So this season, for instance, we have Sheila E., who's kicking it off. And if anyone doesn't know who Sheila E. is, they've been hiding under a drum set for the past 30 years, but renowned pop star and percussionist. Right. We counter that with Isabel Wilkerson, who is one of the first African-American woman to win the Pulitzer Prize in journalism. And with her novel, she's been touring for more than 7 years with The Warmth of Other Suns, talking about the Great Migration. We have such a diversity that we feel like every time somebody tunes in, they're going to learn something new about someone they might have heard about or never knew about.
So when you look at an A-list, and people are always interested in what do other people do? How did they get there? These are the kind of questions, I suppose, that are asked on the show.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and for example, when Mrs. Holmberg passed away, there were a lot of people who hadn't had the opportunity to see.
We don't know who she is.
I'm sorry, Ruth Holmberg.
There you go.
Chattanooga's Ruth Holmberg. When she passed away, WTCI, we rebroadcast the episode that Allison featured with Mrs. Ruth Holmberg. So it was a way for people to celebrate her life after her passing.
Well, see, what I'm looking at here is a part of the list. Some of these people I don't know. There's one on here called TBA, to be announced. I mean, I know that one. But Sheila E., if you listen to music and you know anything about Prince, you've got that. So is this a nice blend of young and old millennials and oldsters?
Who is the motorcycle riding guy?
The motorcycle riding guy? Oh, Jimmy? No.
Matisyahu.
Oh, Matisyahu, yes. That was a few seasons ago. He is an Orthodox Jewish hip-hop reggae artist. So you may not have heard his music, but as soon as you hear that, exactly. Maurice, I got you in like 15 words or less.
What you did.
Absolutely.
It got you.
So that's how we gauge, and we don't want to have 7 recording artists on the same show. We don't want to have 7 authors. We don't want to have 8 of the same type of person. We really want to bring to bear the diversity of this great country, even the world, and make sure that the stories are told. I like to say I'm a curator of stories. So if I hear a wonderful story and can put that in my pocket and share that with others, and in this case, share it with you know, our thousands of viewers and even hundreds of thousands via the internet where we can have access, then to me that is a great week.
You know, I like this partnership that we have because public broadcasting is in the same vein of what we do here. We are public information.
Exactly.
We're public affairs. In addition to what you are doing, there's something that you guys are doing that's a special screening that talks about health. It doesn't involve Congress or people who are not doing anything. This is on the positive side. Tell us.
Correct. It is not about health policy, but health is one of the most important topics in our community. So WTCI is debuting a new program called Explore Health Thursday night at 8 o'clock. It will be encore broadcasts will happen weekly on Saturdays at 4. Host Ron Har explores different health topics each week.
Now, we probably know the name Ron Har because he held an office here in Chattanooga, and a lot of people might know him from where, the Chamber?
Correct. He was at the Chamber, but where he intersects for us with health is that, did you know that he was one of the leaders in managing the Blue Care program and establishing it for Tennessee?
You know, we all, Allison, and I'm sure you talk about this with A-list people too, we're all concerned about our health, but we sometimes don't want to talk about it because we don't give away a lot of information, and who wants to hear about it? So how do you avoid that when you start to talk about health?
Well, what we have done as a PBS station, it is very important to us to provide trusted information. So we have pre-produced elements in each show, and then we've invited experts in who are the top in their field for each of those subjects. And between the pre-produced elements and the interview components with Ron and these experts, we're able to share a lot of very relevant messages.
Well, you know, I know a little bit about that. Yesterday I couldn't spell expert. Today I are one because I'm on television. So you interview people who can go back and forth with these roles. And how important is it to bring the story of healthcare to life?
Oh, it's incredibly important, particularly relevant in our area. When you look at national studies, Tennessee ranks among one of the lowest in many health indicators. Chattanooga and the Tennessee Valley, again, not a recognition we celebrate, but one we're trying to impact, one of the lowest. So in terms of obesity, in terms of lung cancer and smoking related issues, we are among the highest. So if we are able to share that important, vetted, trusted information with our community, we feel like we can help impact that.
You know, I'm looking at the mural behind us, and it is a picture of progress. Unlike 50 years ago when your father was in politics and other people had a vision, they said, you know, well, we can clean up this city. It's a rust bucket city. Health is bad. We can clean up the water and do something. So now the emphasis has moved from the environment to health.
Well, Chattanooga has changed a lot. We talked about celebrating Ron. Allison wouldn't do it, but I enjoy celebrating Allison. She has been a leader in a lot of change in our community in terms of education and social innovation. So
we have less than a minute. When is your series on?
It airs on Thursdays at 8:30 at night, and then it repeats at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And I joke that sometimes they throw it into the mix probably around 1 in the morning, just for those insomniacs who need a good reason to go to bed.
Oh, we wouldn't know
But you can
anything
always
about
watch it
early
online.
hours. Well, you can also DVR it. I mean, that's
You can.
the thing that I love most about modern electronics. Just set it and forget it.
And at WTCITV.org, you can watch all of our local programs and our national programs, and you can stream it from your iPad, from your phone, from your computer, in the comfort of your own office, living room, or desk.
We want to thank you both for coming. Now, a little bit more about the health. There's a screening?
Yes, the our show airs tomorrow night, Thursday, at 8 o'clock.
The next
we
Thursday,
have
because this is on Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Every Thursday at 8 o'clock, they will have encore broadcasts Saturdays at 4, and we have a preview event coming up this week at the Palace Picture House, another partnership we've established.
That's a place I think a lot of people really need to think about going to. It's a gorgeous venue.
Oh, it's beautiful.
We want to thank you very much for being a guest
Thank you,
today.
Maurice.
And partner, you will come back with
Thank
us
you.
again.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, Point of View will continue, and as always, we have a lot more. So please, stay with us.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Hello and welcome back to Point of View. I'm Donna Christian Lowe, your co-host for today and senior producer. Alongside is my guest co-host, Miss Tanisha Irvin. Everybody knows Miss Tanisha. Glad to have you.
Happy to be here.
We also have the Glass Street Live crew. I'm going to say that for short. Miss Teal and Miss Nikki. Now I'm going to let you guys quickly tell who you are and what you do in your organization.
Okay. My name's Teal Tebow, and I'm the director and co-founder of Glass House Collective.
And I am Nicole Nikki Lewis. I am the community coordinator of Glass House Collective.
Awesome. Well, Tanisha, first of all, I'm going to start with you. You got involved. We had a lot of fun last year at Glass Street Live. I think there's a ton of pictures out there. But why did you decide to partner? I know you're helping with the PR, the communications. Why did you decide to partner for Glass Street Live?
Oh, but Donna, it's no secret that I have a lot of love and passion when it comes to East Chattanooga. I grew up in the Avondale community. The Tanisha Irvin Show does the annual New Chattanooga Expo every year, so it only makes sense. And with the Glass Street Live event being at the intersection of Dotson and Glass Street this year, it's
That's
really
a change.
That's definitely a change.
So say that again, because we're going to have questions.
Sure. So this year, Glass Street Live takes place at the intersection of Dotson and Glass Street, where last year it was at the intersection of Glass and Chamberlain. So it's just really, we're all one big happy family. I've always wanted the opportunity to do more and to partner with Glass House Collective, and it just made sense for me to do it this year.
It seems right. Glad to have you as a guest host. I'm going to let you jump in because we have a ton of questions, but the first thing I got to know, Nikki, all the kids love you to death. So what can the kids expect this year at the event?
Oh my gosh, the kids can expect a face painter. Thanks to Miss Tanisha over here. There will be a touch a truck, so firefighters, public works will be out there. Art 120 is going to have some styrofoam blocks. Green Spaces has a bunch of different interactive kids activities. There's going to be a pop-up art gallery that they can go explore. There's just so many live interactive activities for them to participate in this year.
The first 150 kids get to screen print or make their own T-shirt.
Well, my kid will be there.
Okay. Mine too, both of mine.
Yes.
So, Teal, as the co-founder and executive director of Glass House Collective, this is your, you've been doing this now for some years. Tell us about community involvement and what you've learned by doing this, because from what I understand, you know, I grew up in East Chattanooga. This is it can be a tough neighborhood at times. How were you received when you first came, and what have you learned?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. I think, you know, honestly, we came in kind of with our priorities at the forefront. We really wanted to animate all the storefronts along Glass Street, and that was such a great idea. And the neighborhood quickly let us know that it wasn't that wasn't a priority of theirs, and that we could go home. But we didn't. We're stubborn. And we said, you know what, you're right, we're sorry. What is it that you guys want to work on? And let's go to work on that together. And so after listening for about a year, we went on a listening tour, talking with a lot of people that live in the community, great people that live in the community. I think that gets overlooked a lot of times. We decided that we were going to focus on making Glass Street and the surrounding neighborhood cleaner, safer, and more inviting. And so a big part of that was changing the perception of the neighborhood. And what better way to have a festival that's family-oriented and kid-friendly
And
to
no
do that?
festival happens without partners. So
Right.
starting right here, you guys have brought your partner here, but what Glass House is really this ecosystem of partners.
That's right.
Yes, it
So
is.
how do you get out, how do you reach those partners? How do they reach you? And what are they actually doing right now? What's the magnitude of their involvement?
So Glass House Collective, that's great that you mentioned that. Our name, the collective aspect of our name rings true to what you're saying, because this is a true collective. I'm the only full-time staff, and we have 3 others part-time.
Hold up.
They work hard.
How many people? Tanisha, did you know this?
I did.
How many people work there?
We have 4 people, 1 person full-time, 3 part-time.
How are you guys doing?
It's because of our partners.
Wow.
And when we showed up, we said, you know what, we need to do business planning classes. So we partnered with Launch. Nice. You know, we want to partner with the building owners, because we don't own any buildings on Glass Street. So we want to make sure that they're in on this vision with us. We want to partner with the residents, block leaders. We started a block leader group. Habitat for Humanity is now working in the neighborhood renovating homes. So It's a big collective, and I think sometimes people are like, wait, what do they even do down there? Just because there's so much. But I think it's important for everyone to realize that Glass House doesn't own property. We are trying to partner and bring life back to Glass Street, but we have now expanded our focus as of 2 years ago.
2 years
and
ago.
It's not just Glass Street, it's the surrounding neighborhood.
Well, I have a question for Tanisha. On a business note, you know, a lot of people, I'm going to tell you, I imagine you own some of the buildings over there. I thought some of those buildings were truly part of Collective. So
A lot of people
business people out there right now, we're business people. People are wondering, well, how do I become a part? Because this is a pretty massive movement. But what suggestions would you give to people who not just want to be a part of Glass Street Live, but part of that movement?
Number one, I would tell them to definitely show up tomorrow at 4 p.m. from 4 to 7 for the 4th annual event, because it's the opportune time to not just hear or, you know, go about what you've heard about it, but to actually come and experience it firsthand, and also to see the different values and aspects of the neighborhood, the community, the local entrepreneurs. It's the perfect time. Second, as a newly licensed realtor, I would advise that you contact me, because I see the vision for the Glass Street intersection for Glass Street as a whole, and I am trying to partner with people that also share that vision and share that passion for bringing life back to Glass and to East Chattanooga.
Well, I think that's phenomenal. I got to go back to the kids. Sorry, I'm a mom, but Nikki, tell us a little bit more about what the kids can expect. Now, my kid, I can't just let him run free there, so what are a few things that we need to be prepared for as parents to be make sure my son has a successful Glass Street Live experience?
Oh my gosh, be prepared that it is going to be a lot of people. So they're going to be food.
Okay.
There'll be local food vendors, all from the East Chattanooga area, from Boy Station and Glass Farm. And it's been wonderful to partner with them to bring that mutual togetherness together.
Yes.
And there'll be, like I said, bounce houses and face painting. And they'll be
And
able
we
to
can't
run
forget the
around.
parade.
And the parade
Yes,
at
the
5:30
parade.
p.m.
Now, why do we decide to do a parade this year? I think it's cool. You guys really had a walking parade last year, but now you've made it.
No, it's going to
It's still walking.
Still walking? Okay, so talk about that though. Why a big parade? We have a festival.
Well, this is a part of a citywide initiative. Chattanooga Celebrates. It's a cycle event, alternate transportation event, and this is actually the final stop on that tour. It's going to start off at the Bessie Smith Hall at 12 p.m. to 12 noon, and it's going to make its way to Glass Street Live for the grand finale. So we're really excited about that. There will be bikers that will be pedaling the entire path and will be joining us there for the grand celebration. So the parade starts at 5:30. Make sure you're there. It's going to be awesome. We've got some local dance teams that are going to be showing out. So trust me,
Who
you
are
don't
some
want
of
to
those
miss
dance
it.
teams? I want to know.
Some of the dance teams, we've got the Chattanooga Choo Choos. We've got Lynn's Playhouse, to name a few, and I can't think of the other ones.
Morris Studios will
There we
be
go.
there.
I've heard of them.
Yes,
I've
Bob
heard of
Morris,
them.
yes.
Yeah. So kind of go out. Let's talk about a few key points that we need to know, because we're going to get calls. You're going to get text messages and Facebook messages. What time, where? So let's start with the website. What's the website where people need to go find out what you're doing?
Okay, www.glasshousecollective.org. Under the most recent blog post has all the details.
Okay.
But we're really posting a lot of fun updates constantly on the Facebook.
Okay.
And the Facebook event is called Glass Street Live
Yes.
2017.
We'll make sure to share that on our page,
Great.
Point of View. We'll
Thank
share that.
you.
We've already shared a little bit. But any other details? Is there cost involved?
The event is free.
Want to make sure we say that. Are you sure?
It is free.
So I don't have to bring
Event
any
is
money.
free.
Bring cash if
For
you
the
want to have
food.
food.
Okay,
Yeah.
for food. Okay, and the food we know is going to be great. So we got
And
a
for
website.
adults to get their T-shirts screen printed, you'll
Okay.
need cash.
So are there drinks for parents? Are there drinks at these events, or is it just a pure family event? And I say adult drinks. I
Yeah,
should say.
no adult drinks
No
at our
adult
party.
drinks.
Just want to
But
clarify
there will
that.
be adult drinks at the MLK party along the route for
Okay.
City Celebrates Cyclovia.
Wonderful.
There will be different, but for us it's more family friendly.
friendly.
Sounds
So
good.
many kids.
Got to cut us off here. I know we can talk longer. I'm going to say if anybody wants to find out, they can reach out to Tanisha Irvin. Is that correct?
Sure.
Anything, or they can go to the Facebook Live Facebook page, correct? Other than that,
great.
we will see you at Facebook Live. Join us next on Point of View as we're talking about Project College.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back. I'm Leslie Smith. I'm your host for this segment of Point of View, and I have with me today Joyce Johnson, who's the director of the Joe Johnson Tennis Foundation, and I also have with me Montrell Besley. He's the director of Project College. And for both of you, your program is relatively new.
Yes.
Your program has been around for some time?
Yes, it's been around for 6 or 7 years.
6 or 7 years. Can you tell us more about the program, how it started?
Well, this program started, my son thought of it. My husband worked for the recreation centers here in Chattanooga for about 34 years. So he taught tennis, and my son just felt like that he was just so interested in tennis and in the kids specifically that he would start a legacy for the Joe Johnson Tennis Foundation. That is how the name came about, Joe Johnson Tennis Foundation.
So you're continuing a legacy, more or less?
We're continuing a legacy of Joe Johnson, who worked in the recreation department.
Okay, what's like the criteria? How do kids get in this program?
Well, this program is a non-profit program, and it's for the underprivileged children. Any kids can participate in it, though. And we sort of earmarked the Family and Youth Development Centers for our start. So most of the time in the summer, during the summer program at the development centers, the kids are there. So we take our tennis there, and we travel 5 days a week to several of the recreation centers, sometimes 2 recreation centers per day. So that means that we teach 100 to 150 kids per day when we travel.
Now, you just mentioned summer, so we're going into cold weather. Is your
Sure.
program operational during other months?
Sure. From the summer programs, we ascertain kids, and we continue to teach them through the winter. We're outside at the Lakeside Tennis Courts on Swan Road at this time. When it gets cold, we go indoor. A lot of times we use the center gyms, but this year we might use some of the tennis centers to teach tennis, such as over at Macaulay and over GPS. We might get some of those indoor facilities there this coming winter to continue our program.
Okay, and Montrell, your program.
My
Recently heard about it.
Recently, a year old, September 24th, so we just celebrated her birthday. And we started with a group of parents of like minds. I had 2 parents, Chastity Tucker and Marcus Gladden. They approached me and had the same idea, and I said, hey, why don't we just do it together? I mean, we both have high school kids that's getting ready to graduate this year, and we have seniors. So we said, you know, there's other kids out there that don't have parents like us or don't have mentors like us that can take them on college trips and college tours. So we was doing it for our kids, so we said we can just do it for other kids that are not as fortunate, or parents want to do it, but they work so much that they can't take off work to do it. So we're pretty much serving as a GAP program for parents of all over Chattanooga, not just the poor, not just the rich, but everybody. Even the kids that don't want to go to school, we're planting that seed in them to say, hey, you can do it. Even though you have a 1.9, you still can work towards that grade point average that'll get you in school, or you still can go to Chattanooga State, then go to the school of your choice.
And that's great. Now, what makes you different? What makes you stand out from all the other programs in the community? Because there are like tons of programs popping up all over town.
Yeah.
What makes you different? What's unique?
What's unique about us, we focus a lot on our HBCUs. A lot of our schools that a lot of our kids tend to not think of going to, and we do a lot of ACT prep. We help parents and their kids with their FAFSAs. We go into the schools and actually sit and talk to these kids. We interact with these kids. And we kind of serve as that second parent or that mentor. So that's how we set ourselves apart.
Okay, so for both of you, as far as funding, how's funding going? How does it work out for you with your program, for example? What do you do as far as funding?
Our program, most of the money comes out of our pockets. We do get, we're fortunate to get donations along the way, but we are looking to get those bigger donations so we can stop, taking so much of the money that we use for our families out of our pocket to support a lot of those kids. They just can't get to those schools.
So you actually come out of your own pockets?
Yes, come out of our own pockets.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
and
that's how much, but that's what we love what we do.
Supporting?
Yeah, we love what we do, and the community supports us. The community supports us, our neighborhood support us, our friends support us most of all, and we do get donations from small companies and small businesses, and people that went to these schools, they give $40 here and $40 there to sponsor a student. So we love what we do. That's why we take the money out of our pockets.
Okay, and how's your program funded?
Our program begun by coming from the Johnson family, and then we take donations, and we're in the process of applying for grants. But basically, we've had donations, and then from the family of the Johnsons.
Now, are there any upcoming special events, any special fundraisers coming up? Is there anything the public should know about?
I have our next tour is coming up October the 11th. We'll be taking some kids to Morehouse and Spelman in the King Center, you know, to just give them create more awareness for those schools. And then November 11th, we'll be going to Alabama A&M to visit their senior day. It's a big, you know, a big ordeal for a lot of the A&M alumni.
It's a lot of
so
fun.
it's fun. It's very informative, and they get out a lot of scholarships, and they accept a lot of kids on spot. This past Saturday, we took some kids to Tennessee State University, where we had 15 kids that actually applied. So more than likely, all 15 of those kids will get into that school.
Okay, and where do you see your programs in the future?
In the future, I see Project College doing some abroad tours, trying to get to, you know, some of those islands that has HBCUs. Try to, you know, do some studies in Africa. You know, just getting out of our comfort zone and going to other countries and see what life is like, because that's what Project College is about. It's positive exposing our youth.
Okay, and then the Joe Johnson
Foundation? The Joe Johnson program, what we're doing, we are trying to develop some Serenas, and we're trying to develop some Nadals. We're trying to develop some Federers, and when we realize what it is about tennis and about the living you can do there, and it's so much more besides tennis that we teach. We teach life skills, and I always tell the kids that if you can concentrate on the court, if you can be very patient, this goes to your classroom. After you take these tennis lessons, you're going to find out when you sit at the desk, you can concentrate and you can be patient, because that's what it takes to play tennis. So we really teach that, and just being understanding, being cooperative, being honest.
So you want to make well-rounded children,
well-rounded children, develop their skills using the tennis racket and the tennis ball. Now we take kids, after we develop the kids, we take them to the tournaments, and we have local tournaments that we just won. The Girls 12 GPS Fall Tennis Tournament. One of our 12-year-olds won it, and the other one was the runner-up. And this was this little girl's first time entering a tournament. So you know how proud we are, and that does give something to the other kids.
I want to thank you so much, both of you, Montrell and also Ms. Johnson, for coming on today's show. And, you know, just keep doing what you're doing in the community. We appreciate you.
Yes, we got to do it. We love it. We love what we do.
We love that.
Thank you for tuning in. Who speaks for you on the next Point of View?
Closed captioning provided by the following.
Funding for this program is brought to you by Barnett & Company, specializing in tax-efficient strategies for the preservation and distribution of family wealth, offering continuous investment management with a focus on long-term strategies. Areas of service include investment, estate, education, and retirement planning. Barnett & Company, the power of compound returns over time. More information can be found on the web at barnettandcompany.com.